Hello world. Hello. Early grand rising. It is Nurse Pretty, Nurse Crazy Eyes, Purple Sunflower, aka Nurse Bald Eyes, and that's who I am right now. Okay? So last night was great, decent shift. Tonight was going well, working with my favorite crew. And then it just, oh man, it just like got crazy. So y'all already know how I feel about death and the things that I want for myself and don't want for myself. I'm taking a moment, like I just had to stop. I'm not even done with everything, but like I needed a second, because to me it's just not normal or human or humane to just, like, I don't handle or deal with death the same way like that. So it's just pretty outlandish to me that I'm like expected, in a sense, to just go from one person to the other. And I'm over the mask. It's in my pocket. I will put it back on before I go in someone's room or whatnot. And even still, it's like, what the fuck? And excuse me, I should probably do a disclaimer. Excuse the language, but this is a vent video. Okay, I'm having a moment, and yes, this is gonna be my brief therapy session, because I'm going through and trying to keep it together. Because this is a lot. But luckily, no, this is not a vent video about anyone messing with me per se, but just my mental, like I'm trying to process it and pull it together so I can make it through the rest of my shift and take care of the rest of my patients that I have. So I just had somebody pass or whatnot, and that's not really no like big thing, because it's not the first time that I've lost a patient or somebody passed. But it's been a minute and it hasn't happened at all this year. But it happened, it was kind of expected, because the person was on, in the life care, palliative care or whatnot. So it was expected as far as that goes. But just this whole process of how they do it, like, that shit's fucked up. And like I said, I'm supposed to be like in between patients. So like, I was basically in transition to go from one room to the other, and I was like, well, let me just peek my head and make sure everything's still everything, right? Let me just make sure everything is still everything. And I wasn't able to do that. I'm finna move, because I need to say what I need to say without anybody walking up on me like anything is a problem or whatever. So bear with me. Rule number 5, mind your business, please. I gotta plug this up. So like, I just gotta get my mind right, and I understand that certain things are a little different than what I'm used to or where I'm from. But this, okay, let me start over. Let me give a little, well, actually, let me just talk about what's going on, and then I'll speak about myself and tell you like what I want and why that's what I want, as wild as it sounds. So anyway, my patient passed. Not to mention, I'm making the phone calls, or this hasn't happened to me since I've been traveling. So obviously every place has its own process and procedure, yada, yada, yada. So, I'm like, well, what do? There is no checklist, no whatever. Like, did you call this person, or this person has to be notified or called before this person, blah, blah, blah type deal. But, I finally figured it out and call everybody that needs to be called. But unfortunately, like, the family doesn't even answer. So like, these people don't even know what's going on with their loved one yet. So anyway, I making the other calls and stuff. And here is a little different because like you actually have to bag the body and put the toe tag on there and sign this and all of that, which I know is a little different because in Florida the RN is not within the RN scope of practice to declare a death, like, or to, you know, declare the time of death or anything like that. You can't do that. A physician has to be the person to do that, or you have to call 911. This person was obviously a DNR, so that didn't apply anyway. But you know, it is what it is. So that happened. So sorry if I'm just kind of like not getting to the point or taking a minute to get it out, but I'm driving too, and like I said, I'm trying to process this and get my mind right to get it together to where I can finish my shift and go on to the next person. And it's just kind of difficult. This person happens to look like me, on top of the fact, although I usually feel like this regardless of what the person looks like, because I'm freaking human, or at least I'm having a human experience. You know, I am a goddess, but you know, I'm having a human experience. So unlike some people, like, I actually have compassion and care about my patients and stuff. And like Biggie say, like, you don't wish death on nobody, ain't no coming back from that. So anyway, you have to call these people, right? And you know how you have, like, on your driver's license or something that says if you're an organ donor? And FYI, I'm not an organ donor. I feel like if something happens to me and I need something or whatever, like, I'm just not going to get it because I don't want to go under the knife. I don't want to have somebody else's blood in me. I don't want no transfusion. I don't want none of that. I don't want to be in a hospital. I don't want to be in a nursing home. I don't want to die by myself in a room while somebody else is waiting to make calls and find out what happened to me. I don't want that. And that's part of the reason, like, don't nobody care. That's what I be talking about. But when I say that nobody cared, I always be like, oh, don't say that. That's not true. It is, man. Don't nobody care. These places be about their freaking money. Their money and whatever mad scientist is out there in a freaking lab trying to create and do whatever the fuck it is that they want. And I know I probably sound half crazy or whatever, but that's what the hell it is. So back to my point that I was making. Usually you have on your license or something that says that you want, you know, your body or whatever it is donated to science, or you're an organ donor or whatever. But here, it doesn't matter if you have that or not. If you die here in this state, you have to call these people. It doesn't matter if the family's been notified, if they know or not, if they said okay, whatever you have written down for your wishes or any of that, like, it don't matter. Like, you have to call these people. And they're asking you these questions about the person that's passed, basically trying to assess if they're good enough for them to try to convince their family members or their loved ones that's still living, or they gotta say so on what happens to them next, trying to convince them to donate whatever it is that they trying to get from them. That shit's fucking weird. That shit is weird. Not to mention, like, somebody just died, man. I'm trying to process that shit. And yes, I know death happens every day, and I work in the hospital, and that's gonna happen. Of course, 100%. I'm totally down with that. Like, I get it. It just sucks when stuff happens and you just see how long it takes to do this and do that. And like I said, there is no set, straightforward, do this, call this person, this needs to be done first, blah, blah, blah type thing. And all the while, like, this person is literally just laying there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Like, that shit's fucked up. So anyway, I'm calling to give the information like I'm supposed to. And of course, by the end, they're like, oh, well, this person's not a candidate because of their age. Here's a reference number. Here's my name. And this case has been closed. Like, this shit was so fucking weird. This shit was so weird. Just so upsetting. Like, that shit just didn't seem fucking real or, like, human. Like, what the hell? I just need a second. Like, oh my God. And the lady just, she there by herself. You got these people that don't have no freaking clue about her, trying to get what she got left. It just was weird, and it bothered me. And like I said, nobody's there, but I'm still expected to make these calls and do this and be prudent and do my job and keep it together. Like, it just be so hard sometimes. Like, people don't quite understand, like, the mental stress and strain that you go through being a nurse. And sometimes it just be really, really difficult, like, for real. And this is part of the reason why I be like, I don't want none of that for me. I don't want to be in the hospital. I don't want to be in no home. I don't want no funeral. I don't want to be buried. I don't want nobody trying to come rob my grave, take what somebody done put in my casket with me, or if they think that I got something in my casket with me. I don't want people to feel pressured to come and see me when I'm in the ground. I don't want people to forget about me when I'm in the ground and not bring me flowers and stuff like that. But that's just reality. That's just reality. And that's why I just want to be put in the freaking water. Like, I don't even want to be cremated because you have to pay for that. And you still have to be put in the hands of strangers and people that don't give a shit about you. And that shit costs and it ain't cheap. I don't want that. I don't want to go to no morgue. I don't want to be in no mortuary. I don't want to be in no funeral home. And I've seen too many stories where they ain't right. Topping bodies on top of bodies and people just sitting there and you stuffing people with newspaper and you not putting them in the ground and you selling body parts and organs and all that crap. Man, that shit is freaking insane. I don't want that shit to happen to me. I don't want none of that for myself. Just put me in a freaking ocean and be done. But because that's my choice and what I want to do, is something wrong with that, and I legally, whatever the hell that means, I can't do that, or I'm not supposed to be able to do that. So I don't even know. I'm just venting right now and just expressing my thoughts and my feelings on how I feel. Because I still have to finish out the rest of my shift. And more than likely, I'm probably going to get an admission at some point. Like, this junk is crazy. And that's what I mean when I be like, don't nobody care. Like, they just expect for you to, like, keep it moving. Like, literally keep it moving. Dust your shoulders off and keep it moving. And it's just crazy. Another person in particular, like, I don't feel that they doing the right treatment. Y'all trying to treat this lady like she about to die and be dead, and she not. Like, that lady know what's going on. She might can't talk to you, but she know what's popping. MS is insane. All right. If I need to say something else, then I will. I'm not going to just sit here with it on silent or just going. I'll be all right. I'll show my face in a second. Thanks for listening. Peace.